Hello, everyone. Welcome to my second ever YouTube live interview. And this is one that's very special, and I'm honored to host. I'm going to introduce him actually by reading his bio that is posted on his website. So let me share my screen real quick. Give me 1 second. Let's get Geekosity Mag shared on the screen. Because my guest is Mikey Sutton, and he is the owner and creator of Geekosity Magazine. So I just wanted to show you guys who this gentleman is and what he's all about. Geekosity is a pop culture online and soon-to-be print magazine with writers, editors based worldwide in the US and the Philippines, Canada, England, Italy, Spain, and the Netherlands. Focusing on comic book films, TV shows, Geekosity nevertheless explores all forms of entertainment, music, sports, toys from various countries with a positive vision and open-minded attitude, minus the politics and name-calling. Geekosity embraces the past and the future of all nerd interests. And this is actually run by the one and only infamous Mikey Sutton. Mikey is a two-time winner of the Washington Press Association Awards and a professional journalist since 1987. Sutton made his print debut in legendary GMA record guide in 1987 in the Philippines, Movie Flash magazine. His U.S. debut arrived in Amazing Heroes in 1990, reviewing comics from rising stars such as Neil Gaiman, who you might know from the Sandman TV show, currently streaming on Netflix, and Grant Morrison, renowned comic book contributor, and I know from Justice League mostly, but he quickly escalated in the writing field, eventually working for magazines such as Fantastique, I think that's how you pronounce it, Tower Records Plus, Fantasia, and whom he had the first review of Terminator 2 Judgment Day in the UK. As the internet exploded, Sutton was hired by All Music Guide in 2001 and wrote more than 500 articles for them in a 5-year span. Sutton's reviews have been published in 2 books and the All Music Guide to Rock, Volume 5 in 2002, Scores Pop in 2018. Half Filipino, Sutton has stayed close to his roots, and in 2002, Sutton became the first A&R rep to sign a Milan-based rock group, the Pinup Girls, to a U.S. record label, and then co-releasing their second full-length album, All Seats Are Taken, with Sony Music. 3 years later, he resurrected the beloved Philippine-based new wave radio station WXB 102 as an online channel with the original DJs broadcasting live. Sutton is generally considered among the most well-known of movie scoopers, or troublemaker, as he would like to refer to himself. His accurate reports have included both the Sony Marvel Studios deal, where they combined and joined forces for Spider-Man, the second of which shot him to global prominence. Anybody hear of #Spidergate? Black Panther and Spider-Man and Civil War was one of his scoops. Benedict Cumberbatch and Brie Larson joining the MCU, one of his scoops. The Fox-Disney merger deal was one of his scoops. The Snyder Cut on HBO Max was something that Mikey actually scooped. Sutton has been written in Rolling Stone, NMV, The Daily Mail, Yahoo News, and Comic Book Resources, CBR. His leaks have regularly been featured on various YouTube channels with millions of subscribers. So, without further ado, let's welcome my guest, the one, the only, the troublemaker himself, Mikey Sutton.
Great being here, Josh. So happy to be here. That bio, man. Back in the day when I wasn't name calling back then, but that's changed now. You know?
Well, you know, you worked in the field for so long. You know, you got to get your.
Well, it's Snyder fandom made him toxic now. They brainwashed him. You know what they say, right?
We you've joined the cult, and we're happy.
I joined the cult. There you go. No longer innocent now.
You are no longer innocent. So for anyone who doesn't know, I don't really consider myself a YouTuber, but last
Yeah.
Friday I had your co-host of Night
Yeah.
Shift, Sky Walker the
Yeah.
Jedi, talking about hashtag sell Snyderverse to
Mm-hmm.
Netflix, and you were in the live chat and were giving a lot of good feedback, and you had talked about wanting to come on, so I was like
Yeah.
honored that you wanted to come on my nobody channel.
Oh.
But I am honored and
You
just
you you are nobody, Josh. You're the most positive fans I've seen out there. I love the fact that you went to CenterCon as a Trinity. That to me was a great accomplishment. That was fucking awesome, man. I was like, yeah, you go for it, man. You know, that's how you
thank
do
you.
it. And so,
And yeah,
uh,
me and you first actually connected just by chance. You had just joined Sil Abdul's birthday stream
yeah, yeah,
uh, right before I did. So we just so
yeah.
happened to be on at the same time. And I was just, I don't know if I told you this, I was freaking out. I was like, oh my God.
Oh, were you? I had no idea. Yeah, I just thought it was great that you were there, man. I was like, this guy's cool. You know?
Thank you. I've been watching from everyone in the Sil Nation, from the
Yeah.
shadows, and you are somebody who I've respected. I know
Thank
you are
you.
a
Thank
very
you.
busy man. You have a ton of shows. I don't know if
Yeah.
I have all of them listed at the bottom of this ticker, but
Even I can keep track, Josh. There's so many now.
I know. Just briefly, did you just want to kind of name off some of the shows that you are
Yeah,
working
sure.
on currently?
I remember all of them, I think. You know,
Talk
it's really
about
funny, Josh, because um, 2010, I was asked by a close friend of mine to join Facebook. I said, "Oh, hell no, am I joining Facebook?" Um, and reluctantly, I joined Facebook. I had no idea what the hell I was doing. I owe my entire career to Facebook. Everything that's happened since was because of Facebook. My TV deal um, came up because of Facebook. Spidergate, everything was all about. Like I wouldn't have met you at all if Facebook wasn't around. I wouldn't have met Sil Abdul. So this would never have happened, right? So, um, but YouTube again, like no way in hell I'm ever going to be on YouTube. That's never going to happen. Now I'm always on YouTube now. So be careful what you say, dude, because you know what you deny ever wanting to do, you'll end up doing for life, probably.
Yeah, I mean, because what I know, like I know you through like Sil, and you kind of like through story time, which I was a big fan of.
You're one of the few, I think.
I I appreciate your dark humor because that is
Thank
what
you.
I
Okay.
what I have, and story time would always kind of throw Sil for a loop. Like I would see his reactions, like his face, and I was like,
At least you admit it. People are just scared to admit they like story time, you know.
I, that's where I started learning about you and kind of putting together the snippets of the Mikey secret origin, as it were. And that's kind of what I wanted to do, is kind of like more or less talk about the origin, because
Yeah.
you have had quite a career.
Thank you. Thank you.
So going back off of that bio, I guess let's start from the beginning. I guess we'll build
Sure.
up to all the shows that you are
Yeah.
on, and we'll talk about those as we go. So you started working for a Filipino magazine, Flash magazine. Is that
Yeah. I had a an idol in the Philippines and learned. He taught me a lot of how to treat people because I was just a nobody and I was just a kid. I was like 16, 17 years old. This guy was a legend already. He was the legendary music critic in the Philippines. Golden Morales Azul, who sadly died at the age of 42, so young. Um, and so I wrote him a letter. I said, "Look, I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm from the States, and I just wanted to, thank you for all your great work." And I said, "It's inspiring me to become a writer." And he sent me a letter that was long before, decades before the internet, guys. Snail mail was all it was. And he sent me a letter in 1986, which I still have. I'll treasure it forever. just thanking me and everything. I told him I'm leaving for the States in about a year or so, and I just wanted to get this letter off to him before I left. Um, so he sent me this letter back, and it started our friendship. And then I moved to Manila a year later. Because we lived there before we went back to America, and I said, "Hey, I'm here in Manila now. Here's my phone number here." But we didn't have a phone where I was. I said, "Here's my phone number if you ever want to reach me." And so he called me the night that he got the letter, and we became really good friends. He became my mentor, like a brother I never had. And he taught me everything, dude, about writing and so before I left the Philippines, Josh, I was 18 years old. I wasn't 19 yet, and he said I want to be the first person to publish you. And I was like, oh my god, I just totally lost it. Right, I'm gonna get published in my mentor's column. And so I reviewed Ferris Bueller's Day Off and Maximum Overdrive by Stephen King. I still have the magazine, a historic document now. Um, and that set me on my way. And I had my first published work in 1987, so I was really young. And then I started off my whole career and I moved to the right place, dude. I moved to Seattle of all places, right when the Seattle music scene was about to break. Like it was still new, all the bands were coming out. Soundgarden were still a relatively new band. Nirvana weren't called Nirvana yet. I mean,
Oh, that little band.
a little band, Alice in Chains had a demo out, I think. I mean, so my even though I started reading comic books in '78, I've been a comic book fan for a long time. It's like 44 years. Um, my start was really in alternative music and Seattle scene and everything, and I covered the Seattle scene. And around 1996, actually no, 1990, I was writing for Amazing Heroes magazine. And in fact, here's a little piece of trivia for you. If I had joined Amazing Heroes like maybe 3 years earlier than I did, because I joined it in 1990, but if I had gotten there 3 years earlier, my boss would have been Mark Waid.
Shut up.
Seriously. Like Mark had left for DC Comics 3 years earlier, but Mark Waid would have been my boss if I had gotten there earlier. That was just crazy, right? And so,
isn't he writing World's Finest right now?
he might be. I haven't. I'm so behind now.
Yeah.
No, he wrote Kingdom Come. So I mean, so I met him at a convention about 7 years ago, and I said, Mark Waid, not sure if you know who I am. And I said, what's your name? I said, Michael Sutton. I said, I used to write for Amazing Heroes. He goes, I read your stuff. So Mark Waid knew who I was, man.
That's
crazy was that, it's crazy. So 96, I was hired by, actually it's funny because Cinema Fantastique was a science fiction magazine at the time. They bought one of my articles in 1990, but it never got published because Fox wouldn't give them Fox again, wouldn't give them the pictures. I did a review of Alien Nation, which was a TV show back then. And so my article never got published, but I tried again 6 years later and I got published in Cinema Fantastique. And I wrote for them. And Cinema Fantastique, I wrote for them just for like a year or so. In 2000, I believe it was, the publisher founder killed himself. Yeah, he was run over by a train.
Oh man!
I still have his old letters and everything. And so, 1990, I wrote for Fantasia in the UK. So I was getting published by a British magazine. It was the coolest thing in the world. And I said, hey, can I review Terminator 2 Judgment Day? And they said, yeah, go for it. You'll be the first person in the UK to review it because it wasn't out there yet. So that set me on my way, man. It's been a long career. What the breakthrough, Josh, was Spider-Gate.
Yep.
2019. Um, this was a year after my stroke. I wish I was an hour away from death, which in itself is a story. Um, but Spidergate, there was a rumor that came out in Deadline that Sony and Disney had a big fight and they weren't going to renew the deal to have Tom Holland be in the MCU and to have Spider-Man in the MCU. And so I heard about it the night before it dropped in Deadline because an insider told me, goes, hey, got some big news coming. You want it? So what's coming up? Goes, yeah, so Deadline is going to publish this expose, I guess, that Sony and Disney were having issues and they were going to terminate, they weren't going to renew the deal. And Spider-Man was gone from the MCU. And I said, I don't believe this. I don't believe it. There's just too much money on the table here. And at that point, Josh, I was kind of a private scooper. Like I would scoop things to a couple hundred friends of mine that I trusted. Um, and so nobody knew who I was. Like the only public scoop I had was the Disney Fox thing about X-Men and Avengers. That was in 2015. That I went public with. Didn't like the response I was getting. Like, who's this guy? He doesn't know shit, you know. So I went undercover, dude. I went undercover, and I got the Spider-Man scoop. And honestly, Josh, I made a life-changing decision on a whim. Because I was gonna keep this private. I was gonna just tell my friends privately. What happened was that guy told me I didn't believe him, so I started messaging people I knew. Is this true? Right, like 2 or 3 in the morning, I was texting people, and some people were upset. Dude, go to bed. What the hell are you doing? Texting me at 4 in the morning. This one guy said, "Hey, call me tomorrow because no, this is not accurate." I said, okay. So I called him the next morning. He goes, "No, it's not accurate." I said, "This Sony is trying to leverage for a better deal from Disney. They want to get a better deal out of this, and they're gonna take it to the media and get fan support and force Marvel Studios to take a bad deal, right?" So I'm like, okay. So I'm thinking about this, Josh, and I was like, okay, should I go public with this? I said, nah, I'll make it private, right? And I realized, Josh, that that day was Kate Valdez's birthday, and I'm like, and she's a big Spider-Man fan, big Tom Holland fan. Like, what bad news to wake up to? Seriously, like, you wake up in the morning in Manila and oh, Tom Holland's gone from the MCU. Oh well, shit, there goes my birthday, right? That's what I was thinking. So I was like, I'm gonna make this public. It was for her. It was the only reason why I went public with it. If she wasn't around, I wouldn't have made this public at all. I would have never have been where I am today. So I said, okay, hopefully Kate will read this before she sees the other news because I knew the entire media outlets we're not gonna investigate this. They're gonna run it as is. Like Sony is leaving MCU. I think comicbookmovie.com had one of the worst takes on it. They were like cry fanboy cry. I mean, it was horrible. Like rage baiting all the fans, right? And I was like, I went to my Facebook and I said, no, it's not accurate. They're just leveraging for a better deal. They're gonna go back on. They're gonna go back to the table and keep talking about this. Um, and I said, hey, I hope Kate reads this first thing in the morning. That's all I was thinking of, right? Um, so because of the time zone difference between the Philippines and here, like 3 o'clock in the afternoon here, about 7 o'clock in the morning over there, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was just waiting for her, like a message from her or emoji or something as she saw this, right? Um, so things are getting weird with the Facebook, okay? Because mind you, I had about 2,000 Facebook friends. It wasn't that much. They built up. So something weird had started happening with my Facebook, dude. I saw a lot of people liking that post, a lot that I was not used to. All of a sudden, they got 100 likes in like in 30 minutes. I'm like, what's going on? and the shares started like really piling up. Like, what the? Like, hey, this wasn't meant for you guys. Okay, it's meant for one person, right? But like, what's going on here? So I went to all the big sites. They were all negative, dude. Negative. Tom Spider-Man gone forever. You know, no more Avengers for Tom Holland. Just all this negative stuff. It was terrible. All the YouTube channels started sprouting up. It was all negative. Like, say goodbye to Spider-Man, MCU fans, and everything. And I realized I was the lone person on the planet saying otherwise. And I was like, oh man, there's nobody else saying what I'm saying, you know? And so I said, okay, well, that's cool. I wasn't thinking seriously of this. As long as Kate sees it, I'm happy, right? So by the time she saw it, I saw her, she put the heart emoji on there. Okay, she said, great news. Pick up to on your birthday. By that time, that post had gotten 400 shares. It was going viral. And I'm like, oh my God, am I going viral? I just could not believe it, dude. It was popping up everywhere. There were shares everywhere. People who shared it got their post shared. It was just exploding out of the gate. I'm like, did I just hit on something by accident here? Because it was not intentional. None of this was planned, right? All of a sudden, the friend requests piled up, dude. Like every hour, I get like 20, 30 friend requests. By the end of that evening, I had over 1,000 friend requests. I was getting tagged everywhere. I mean, just it was insane, right? And so next morning, okay, I wake up and I got another shocker. I'm on Yahoo.com. I'm researching something. I'm on the front page of Yahoo News. Like, what in the world? You know? And they're quoting my Facebook post. There's even a screenshot of it in there. Can you imagine like going to Yahoo.com and seeing a picture of Tom Holland there, right? And it said something like, the Sony Disney deal apparently is not the end. I'm like, oh, somebody else is saying it, right? That's what I thought. Hey, cool, somebody else is saying it. I clicked on it and they're quoting me. Like, I'm on the front page of Yahoo.com. And my Facebook just blew up, dude. I mean, I had like 3,000 friend requests. I mean, it's just thousands of shares. This was nonstop. And I'm like, oh my God, how did this happen, right? And so that's how Spider-Gate happened. And then, Josh, just when you think it couldn't get any bigger, about a month later, my scoop got confirmed, and all hell broke loose. All hell broke loose.
I think I know what that one was. But for the other side, right? For the competition. Yeah.
Oh, and they were hating me, dude. Like comicbook.com, Brandon Davis put a hit video on me. Like, who is this Mikey Sutton guy? He's got more origins than Batman. I'm like, he just made me sound cool. Thank you for that. I know you're trying to insult me, but he just made me sound cool. Because he was saying that the deal is dead. He was saying it. Well, according to my source, the deal is dead. But your sources are wrong. They were totally wrong, right? And so, what these people don't know, it's really funny, Josh, is that my life coach worked for Sony, and he was there when Tom Holland got signed. And he's a producer on Spider-Man. He's a producer on Garfield's Spider-Man movies. And so, underneath my scoop, he wrote down, "You had the most accurate report on this story. Congratulations." And he was not my source. I didn't go to him. I had other sources, but he congratulated me, and nobody recognized who he was. They would have known I was legit from right there. I forgot to mention this too. It was trying to figure out who I was, right? And so he went through my Facebook and he saw some of the public scoops I had. Like, oh my God, this guy was the one who broke the Spider-Man deal to begin with. Like, very first one. That was mine. He said that Black Panther was in Civil War. He had scenes from Civil War detailed on his Facebook. When that happened, exploded even further, and that's when Yahoo picked it up. Um, and then the Showbiz cheat sheet went through all that stuff, all those receipts, if you will, and they called me one of the top 10, top 5 um, movie scoopers in the world. It's the Spider Man. Um, and so it got really insane. And if that wasn't enough, Josh, I went on a tear, a 4 month tear, September 2019 to December, where I scooped Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire being in Spider-Man 3. Okay. And I was the first one to do that, and people, oh man, the betas were just going crazy. Like, this guy's full of shit. No, he's making up stuff. There's no way Foggy would put Andrew Garfield Maguire in Spider Man. You know, they were really trying to tear me down, dude. Um, and then I said that Hugh Jackman was going to be in Deadpool 3. Sounds familiar? This is that 4 month
Mhm.
span, right? And I said, and this one really got him. Um, I said Charlie Cox was coming back as Daredevil in a new series
Mhm.
for Disney Plus. Or,
Mm.
you know, and um, I said Vincent D'Onofrio was going to come back as a Kingpin. It's really funny part. I should have sent you the screenshot. I forgot, but I said Vincent D'Onofrio was coming back as a Kingpin, and somebody tagged Vincent D'Onofrio on Twitter, right, and put a screenshot of my Facebook post. And Vincent D'Onofrio goes, "I wouldn't trust this." You know, it still makes me laugh. So when he was announced to return as a Punisher as a Kingpin, everybody on Twitter started tagging him with what he originally said. You know, trying to shoot me down years ago. I just thought it was amusing. I said John Bernthal was going to come back as a Punisher. I said all these things are now verified. You know, and then the what was one of the biggest ones, Josh, and I'm always honest with this. I was not a Center fan. I didn't care for Man of Steel. Didn't like BVS. I hadn't seen those one edition yet. Um, so I got a scoop, one of the biggest scoops of all time. I didn't see it that way though. I was just like, oh, whatever. You know, I was told, Josh, November 2019, the Snyder Cut was coming. HBO
Mhm.
Max has been approved. I even had the right date when it was going to debut. Okay, and everything was correct. And you know, Sid and I laugh about this because it looks like the most boring scoop ever. I just had no enthusiasm writing it. You know, not like Spider Man. Like, yeah, Spider Man. No, it's like, oh, Standard Cut's coming. You know what I mean?
I
So,
guess, right? I guess
and
I'll cover
and
this.
all the MCU fans were raging, like, Mike, wait, you're going DC on us now? You know, like, come on, give us more Spider Man. You know, so. And I thought that'd be it with that. Then all of a sudden, it got announced. It got announced, and so it just blew up, dude. It blew up, and so and when the trailer for the Snyder Cut hit, I was like, holy shit, this looks awesome. This looks really awesome. Um, and then I started to change because I when I saw the Snyder Cut, um, and I thought, man, 4 hours, a long film, you know. Um,
Yeah.
I saw it 3 times that weekend, dude, and because I was so in love with that film, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Now I know what these fans are so passionate about. Now I know, and that's when Sil and I were already broadcasting together. Because I was kind of an odd man out with Sil because I was a Greg Berlanti fan. He couldn't stand Berlanti stuff, and he was like, "Can we put the Berlanti stuff on my other channel?" Because he knew the hardcore DC fans. They just wanted Snyder, right? Um, but Snyder Cut converted me. Um, then I went and saw the Ultimate Edition of BVS, and that was like a revelation to me. Um, why was this film cut? I just did not get it at all. They ruined that film. 'Cause if you
Yeah.
see if any of you have not seen the Ultimate Edition, that's the only version you should see. Don't
Mhm.
watch the theatrical cut of that film
That's
because
why
it is
the
so great.
theatrical is no longer on HBO Max, right? It doesn't
Yeah, there
exist.
you don't need it. You don't need come on. And so um, I saw Man of Steel for the second time. I saw it in the theater when it first came out. It just wasn't my Superman. It wasn't Christopher Reeve.
Hmm.
Um, but when I saw it the second time after Snyder Cut, I understood what Zack Snyder was getting at. Um, and I read an article on Geekosity about Snyder and his fandom, and basically just my mistake. I really did not admire him, but now I do. Yeah, I love 300. 300 is a great movie, one of my all-time favorites. But I just did not like his DC work until the Snyder Cut, and that converted me. And after that, I started getting one non-stop Snyder DC scoop after the other. I was the first person who said that Walter Hamada was gone.
Yep.
And I was savagely attacked for that. So was Phil. I said, "Well, like, no way is Walter Hamada gone because the Batman's gonna save him." No, it's not. He's gone. I said, and Sarnoff is gone. I said, Toby Emmerich is gone, and they're like, "Bullshit! You're fake news." They love Toby Emmerich. No, David Zaslav does not love Toby Emmerich. So, and I said the three of them are all gonna get fired. One by one, they got chopped out. And starting off, I think was the first. I said Jason Keeler was gonna get fired too. That was one of the first ones I said. Keeler's gone. They were shocked when I said that. I said, no, Keeler's gone. And they thought that I was just trying to make his Center fans happy. I said, no, these people are gone. And sure enough, Zaslav comes aboard, right? And it's really funny, Josh, because when Zaslav came aboard, they're saying, "Look, Mikey, Zaslav is here. They're still their jobs." I said, "Just wait, TikTok." I would post on my Facebook TikTok with Amana's picture on it and stuff. And they're like, "You're full of shit." Like, go ahead. And yeah, sure enough, they're all gone. And then when it was announced that Mike DeLuca was joining, right? And some people were worried, like, "Hey, Mike, is Mike DeLuca going to bring back the Snyderverse? I mean, is he going to get in the way of this?" Because Zaslav wanted to bring back the Snyderverse at the time. This is before he got converted himself. Before he saw the big bill that Warner Bros. Discovery owed, and so what I found out about Mike DeLuca again turned out to be true. Mike DeLuca.
Hey, Necron. I think Mikey's having some mic issues. He'll be back in a second. Thanks, Neo7. Don't forget to like the stream. You back, Mikey?
Yeah, I'm back. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah. So what I found out about Mike DeLuca, he's a big raging Snyder fan. And again, I got the same complaints, always trying to make all the Snyder fans happy with fake news. No, Mike DeLuca is a big raging Snyder fan. He's gonna bring back the Snyderverse, That was a plan. And so, and keep in mind, Josh, this whole time I was saying Henry Cavill isn't Black Adam. The whole time, like, I repeated endlessly. I mean, you still would ask me on the show, so is Cavill back as Black Adam? I said, yeah, no, he's back. Yep. And there'll be a Man of Steel 2. I was the first person to scoop that.
Everything you're saying, I was like watching in the shadows.
You're watching, yep, you saw the time. And so I was on a roll, dude, just a nonstop roll, and because the site was blowing up because of that. And so, Mike DeLuca is a big comic book fan. And so what happened with that, the scoop I did not get, unfortunately, was James Gunn. And that changed everything for the worse because it's funny, Josh, is that after Gunn was hired, all my scoops about DeLuca became true.
Yeah.
He really was planning Man of Steel 2 in development. Brainiac was the villain. Charles Roven was the producer. All these things I talk about were becoming true. Unfortunately, you're not going to see him again anymore. You know what I mean?
And I think the Gunn hiring, it didn't seem like any of the known scoopers that I know of from like Twitter or just social media even knew. Like it was just kind of like from left field. Yeah. Like nobody was expecting that because I was talking to Sky on Friday that he was not the first choice. He was not the second choice.
Nope.
He wasn't even probably the third or fourth. He might have been like
he was the last choice actually.
Yeah. Yeah.
And remember they had those other people before him that they were talking to and they didn't work out. And so no one got gunned because Zaza wasn't talking to anybody, so that's why no one knew. Um, so Gunn and Safran, and at first I was approving of James Gunn because he and Snyder were friends.
Right.
Gunn wrote Dawn of the Dead for Snyder,
Mm-hmm.
so they worked together. And I thought, didn't realize Dan Lin thinking, I was trying to think of the guy's name. Dan Lin was going to be the
Oh,
person,
yeah.
yeah,
Lego
before
movie, right?
James Gunn, yeah,
He did.
and yeah, and so Gunn takes over and it's a disaster. I mean, all your Snyder hopes out the window. And everything DeLuca wanted to give. He wanted to do JL2 with a Snyderverse cast. That came out after Gunn was hired. All that stuff that he was planning on came out. Because we were all excited to do it because Constantine 2 was going to happen. It's still happening, by the way. Constantine 2 is still happening, but not the
Yes.
way that DeLuca wanted it to happen. Because DeLuca wanted Constantine in DCEU. He was going to meet Ben Affleck's Batman. Imagine Keanu Reeves. It's just those painful things, right? That it's just torturous.
Yes.
Um,
And
yeah,
we
so
were
that's
this close.
that close, so close, right? But thanks to Sky, who had that brilliant idea of sell ZSJL to Netflix, we have hope now. Of course, Luke Skywalker would give us hope, a new hope.
A new hope. And it's funny that, Luke came back. I think
Yeah.
it was in 2020, right?
Yeah, you're right.
Was that
Was it?
20?
It was that was funny story about Luke coming back in Mandalorian. I had that scoop.
Yeah,
I had it, and
I
I
believe it.
told a few people. I have screenshots with the dates that I told them. Said, look, I got a big bomb on the Mandalorian. I don't feel comfortable putting this out there because it would ruin it. And
Right.
and I could have said it. I did not say it. I said Luke's gonna come back. He's gonna
That
come back.
moment was, I mean, I'm kind of glad that you didn't, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I'm glad too. I don't regret any of it. I'm sure as hot as a scooper as I was at the time, it would have exploded. But it would have ruined the episode.
because everyone knew it was gonna be like, who is it gonna be? Is it gonna be Luke? Is it gonna be like
Yeah.
Ezra? Maybe
Yeah.
there was this kind of speculation.
Well, keep in mind I had the scoop before the season even began. Like I didn't have any context. I had no context. I said Luke's gonna be in there. And the question was, is it gonna be Sebastian Stan or is it gonna be Mark Hamill? That's a part I didn't know. I just knew that Luke was gonna be back.
Okay.
And so when I'm watching the episode, even though I knew already, my heart was beating fast when that X-Men showed up, dude. I was like, holy shit, here we go. Here we go, And I'm so glad I didn't tell anybody because that Luke moment is forever embedded in my brain, man. Like the internet really exploded.
It's funny you bring that up. I still have right here my sealed Luke Skywalker from The Mandalorian, because that moment was just something that I was like, I need to have, my Luke Skywalker
Yeah.
in the collection. I was I'm one of those, like, the prequels actually brought me into Star Wars because my parents just weren't really huge Star Wars.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, but I retroactively watched, the original trilogy, and
Well, and I like the prequels. Especially Revenge of the Sith is a really good film. And I remember telling my friends at the time, you may not like this, but next generation will, and that are growing up right now or seeing it when they're young. When they get older, they're gonna look fondly at these movies, and sure enough, they did. I saw Star Wars opening day, May 25th, 1977. I was there.
So you would have been 8? How old were you?
I was 8 years old. Yeah.
8 years old.
I saw it at the Century Theater in Sacramento. There's only a couple hundred theaters I had the first night, the first day. I was in one of them. Very lucky. Changed my life. I decided to become a writer after that. So it has. Luke is very special to me. That's why I didn't spill it, because I think, no, this is special. I don't want to ruin this for all the money in the world. I couldn't do it.
For the fans,
for the fans, yeah.
you're a troublemaker, but at the same time, there's
I'm a
some
fan.
things they're sacred.
It's sacred, sacred. That's what I was looking for. Sacred. There you
go. So you would say that Star Wars, kind of like I think Zack Snyder, y'all both.
He did.
That was a content like a bubble that really caused you. It made you who you were.
I tell you, there are two filmmakers I know whose lives were changed by Star Wars: A New Hope, and they both are DC legends, Zack Snyder and Christopher Nolan. Star Wars changed both their lives, and they talk about it openly. In fact, there was a Nolan interviewed George Lucas. That's what it meant to him.
Wow.
So they're all around my age. So we all are like 8 or 9, 10 years old when we saw Star Wars in the theaters. So it changed everybody's lives. And those two guys in particular, Snyder and Nolan, were heavily influenced by the Star Wars movies. So can you imagine Nolan doing a Star Wars film? I mean, just seriously, awesome, dude. Serious. Oh my god, dude.
Wow. Yeah. I'm sure he's probably like been on set with Zach and probably like, hey,
can you imagine it?
Because I heard Zach he saw Oppenheimer already, I think. There was rumored that
wow, that's awesome.
So and so I'm assuming that you would have saw Superman 78 in theaters.
I did see the theaters. I saw everything. I mean, there was no VCRs back then. We couldn't afford one until like '83, so I saw everything in the theater. Man, we didn't even have cable back then. So I saw Superman, I saw Alien, I saw the Star Wars trilogy, Raiders of the Lost Ark. I saw all those when they opened the theaters. So I saw Jaws. I had Jaws at the longest line, man. I skipped 8th grade. A graduation practice to see Return of the Jedi. That's how important it was, man. Like my mom, I gotta pick up my son. He's got a doctor's appointment. There's no doctor's appointment to see Return of the Jedi.
Nice. That's a true fan dedication, Like,
oh yeah, I've been a geek.
You got my priorities.
Got it, man. So yeah, I left school early that day. I'll never forget because I couldn't tell my friends because they might tattletale. Michael's not really going to doctor. He's going to Return of the Jedi.
Tattletale.
Yeah, exactly. So no one knew. I just vanished.
Don't worry about where I am. You did a little
I remember being in the school library. I look at my watch. My mom's gonna call any minute now. She's gonna call. I said, ring. Michael's son, you have to go to the principal's office. Your mom's gonna pick you up for a doctor's appointment. Yeah, sure.
Right. Wink, wink.
Exactly, wink, wink. And my heart's beating, but holy shit, it's Return of the Jedi.
Shout out to Mikey's mom for being awesome
because she is. Yeah. Well, amazing. She took me to see all those films. I never saw Disney cartoons growing up. No, I saw Alien. I saw The Exorcist. That's what she would take me to see. It's because of who I am today. So,
and that made you who you are. And now look at this.
Yeah.
You blew up.
Building empire.
Entrepreneur, working man, hustling, and
hustling all the time, dude. And
so I guess kind of. What I like about you and your perspective is that you, like you said, were at the right time. You basically came into existence, your secret origin, when all of this pop culture exploded. So for you, one thing I wanted to ask you is, I don't know if you feel this way, but as somebody who respects your perspective and the movies that made you who you were, nowadays, would you say that, the modern day movie or TV show just not the same level as it once was in the entertainment space?
I think it has become I think it's leveled out now, thanks to the MCU and thanks to Zack Snyder. We've gotten films that can stand against those movies, and I think they're going to impact today's youth the same way they impacted the original films from Attack at 9. Um, I think we're going to see these movies like give birth to so many incredible creators. Um, a lot of these kids that are growing up on this. I mean, we wish we had this much content when we were kids. We were scraping for content, dude.
Yeah.
Like when Raiders of the Lost Ark came out the same summer as Superman 2. Um, and dude, that was insane. And um, there was like someone said that correct me if I'm wrong, guys in chat. I think in 1982, I think Star Trek 2 came out the same day as the thing. That's just crazy.
Wow. 81?
82.
82. Okay.
Yeah, there all these films that were, kind of squished up in the calendar there. They would come out the same night. Like, oh my god, that's insane. That's it. You can't even imagine that now. Because back in those days, Josh, you had the summer. If you had a blockbuster, you released it during a summer if all the kids were out of school. And the rest of the year was dead. Right? If you were a geek, summer was your jam. Like
Mm-hmm.
you go past the summer, like in the fall and winter, that's when all the Oscar bait movies come out. We weren't interested in that. Uh, but there weren't many superhero films. I mean, Superman 2 was an anomaly. What else did we have? There was nothing. And the TV shows.
Go ahead.
I'll say this, Josh. The 80s were a gold mine for sitcoms, as far as TV is concerned. But as far as geek TV, there wasn't much. We had Knight Rider, we had the A Team. There really was not like now. Yeah, so much now. You go to Disney Plus, you have all these shows. Like having a Star Wars show is insane to me. I still can't get over that. The fact we have like theatrical quality Star Wars. Like I saw the trailer for Ahsoka this morning. I'm like, that looks amazing, right? I can't imagine that as a kid. Like the best we got was Battlestar Galactica, which was cool, but that's all we got. I'll say so. Blade Runner, the thing, that's insane. Yeah, Blade Runner, the thing, and Star Trek. I mean, the summer of '82 is considered the greatest summer of all time for a geek because of all the movies that came out during that time. E.T. came out, Poltergeist, just so much.
It's just back to back bangers.
Back to back. And I do think kids today have got it great. And I think they realize how great they got it right now. Because we never had all these films come out. Can't even imagine. I mean, we got to the point now there's a Blue Beetle movie. Like, that would never have happened in the 80s, Just bonkers. Like, we would be lucky to get a Blue Beetle TV show. Like I remember, Josh, in 1990 when the Flash came on TV, that blew me away. Like, holy shit, we got the Flash!
John Wesley Shipp.
Yeah. Now you take it for granted. Like, oh, okay, Flash.
Right.
I love Shipp. In fact, I was going to see him at a convention this summer, but I didn't get a chance to go. I really wish I could have met him. And you got to see. Yeah, he does a lot. You said you met Andrew Garfield. How awesome is that?
Yeah, and that's one thing I like about you is that I've seen, like, I know your avatar, like your first avatar was of you and Melissa Benoist, and I was just like, oh, this guy, like, he watched Supergirl and I watched Supergirl, and I was like, who is he?
I adore her, man. Like I went to Oregon to see her. Okay, that was just a few months after my stroke, like 2 months after my stroke. I'm in Portland seeing Melissa. Funny story about that convention. I think it was that convention. Remember, I wasn't a Snyder fan yet. I was just walking around the convention. I was waiting for Melissa, I think it was, and I saw this dude just walk past him, dressed like you, like an ordinary fan, like no big deal, right? And all of a sudden, I see all these people, like, like hugging him and asking for his autograph. I'm like, who the heck was this? Like, some ordinary fan. Maybe he's a popular dude. It was Ray Fisher. I walked past Ray Fisher, dude, and he's a small dude, by the way. I was like, I'm on 6'2". He's like a small dude, and so it's just like, what the hell? I miss Ray Fisher. I regret that now. I wish I recognized him. But he was just kind of, just mingling with the fans, and and he was really dressed down, so you wouldn't have known this guy is a celebrity.
Hmm.
But Melissa, I tell you what, she looks and talks exactly like she does in Supergirl. Like, are they
Oh,
the
really?
same person? Because when I saw her, I'm like, oh my god, you're her. You're literally her. You know?
She was amazing as Kara Zor-El.
Oh,
Like,
she was. Yeah, I adore her. She was just great. Super,
I
super.
do I do agree with you. I watched I think Night Shift where you talked about how the last season was just
Oh God.
yeah. And I still don't understand that ending at all. Like I'm just like what?
Yeah,
What?
I don't. Yeah, I only watched it just because it's her. Like everything
Right.
else, that last season just fell apart for me. And the I think one of the head writers were saying that, well, it's our last season anyway, so they're gonna put every political message in here as possible. Like, what about the story then?
Hmm.
You know, just not the right way to go. I don't think so.
I
But I
am
love the
thankful.
show though. Yeah, until then.
Yeah. She did meet her husband, Monel, Chris
Yeah,
Wood.
yeah, yeah.
They are now both working on Kevin Smith's Masters of the Universe
That's
Revol-
right.
Revolution. I forget what season two is
Yeah.
called, but they are scheduled to be at San Diego Comic Con. We'll see if tomorrow's strike
Oh,
has.
the strike. Yeah, I love
I
to
was
see her again.
Yeah, I was looking forward to going to see her and Chris because I saw her show up during one of Kevin Smith's panels, and she
Yeah,
was high off her ass, and it was so hysterical seeing Supergirl high.
that's hysterical. Oh my god.
He was promoting her cameo. I don't know if you watched Jay and Silent Bob reboot.
No, I haven't seen it.
So you need to watch it, Mikey, because basically Jay and Silent Bob hear that Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back is getting rebooted, and they're like, "What the hell?" So they go to Hollywood, stop it, and Blunt Man versus Chronic is being remade, and of course, there's a Blunt Man versus Chronic woke casting, and so Chronic is played by Supergirl.
That's hilarious. Oh my god.
Blunt Man is played by Val Kilmer.
Oh my god. I love Val Kilmer. I
Yeah,
love Batman Forever. I hope they release a Schumacher cut. Um,
same here.
but people don't know that Kevin Smith directed Supergirl. He directed a couple of episodes of Supergirl as well. Some really good
Hmm.
episodes that he directed too. Um,
And he loves
I
that
hope I
show.
see her
So
again. By the way, this is my favorite photo of me ever. Um, this is like 3 months after my stroke. I like this photo because I lost 250 pounds, and you can really
mhm.
tell in this picture I was so proud of myself. And here I am with
you look
Supergirl, right? After losing all that weight. So,
you look excited too. You can tell you're excited to meet Supergirl. So
that'd be so. I mean, it took me years because she was supposed to be at Emerald City Comic Con on 2016. So and she canceled. And
um,
And so I was like, okay, it's my one chance to see her. I'm not gonna miss up on this. So
is that the Comic Con where you and Sil actually met in person?
that was, yeah. This is Wizard World here in
Okay.
Portland. We used to have Ace here a few times. When I met Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen, that was at Ace. We don't have Ace anymore here. They had the biggest stars, man. They're awesome, I
Yeah.
wish they'd come back here because that's where you get all the big MCU stars. A friend of mine met Henry Cavill and Gal Gadot at Ace in New York
Yeah.
a few years.
That convention was amazing. That was like in 2017, right?
Yeah, around there. Yeah, did you
That
go there or did you miss it?
I was so because to my knowledge,
Yeah,
I didn't go, but to my knowledge, that's the only time Henry Cavill has done a convention.
yeah.
So missing out on that and seeing that he did this little thing where he
Mm.
like had a super scavenger hunt and you could have a one-on-one panel with him if
Oh
you
my god,
collect.
how cool is that, dude? Yeah,
And Ezra was there. Everyone was there except Ben Affleck. Uh
good enough for me, man.
yeah,
With
yeah.
Henry and Gal, I'd be walking that air. Um, Damn,
Well,
I would love to meet Gal and Henry. I mean, that'd be amazing if I ever got. But at least you saw Ben at SnyderCon though, and you met Snyder himself. So how cool is that? You
I
know?
did. I actually, so Ben actually, to my knowledge, as far as I know, in 2018, the year of your stroke, actually,
Yeah.
he did do Comic Con here in Texas the first time,
Oh
Fan Expo
man!
Dallas. And so, of course,
Wow.
I went, and he was at that time, he was, I think, recovering still. And from what I hear, he was like, dealing with like costs of like child support and stuff,
Oh, okay. Yeah.
the convention was like his way of getting, funds. But
Yeah.
I had a picture with him, and I was dressed as Wonder Woman, and he was awesome. He was super tall. Super tall. When I hugged him, I was like hugging his waist. So I was like, "This is my Batman."
So
Man.
cool. Oh man, I love to meet him. I love to meet him. It'd be great.
That's
Um,
what I love about you, and that's what I love about this picture. When how I
yeah,
first got to know who you were, is that you go to conventions. You're a fan,
yeah. I am one of you. I am one of you.
and
Um,
I think that's
yeah,
what people don't like about you in the industry, right? Is
yeah,
that
yeah, yeah.
you consider yourself a troublemaker, right?
I
Because
am.
you're
Yeah,
like you talked about with Spidergate, everyone wanted you to think it was done, right? And you were
yeah,
like,
yeah,
there's more to the story that people are not reporting.
yeah,
So I need to bring it upon myself to help my friends have hope.
yeah,
And you did that scoop for your
yeah,
friend, which ended
yeah.
up blowing you up. So
Yeah, and these people have an agenda, Josh. All these scoopers in LA, they all have an agenda. I never had one. Even now, I don't have one. I am pro Snyder because I'm like low Snyder. That's just it. There's no agenda there. I just love the man's work, and I think he's an awesome dude. I love how he treats his fans. He doesn't deserve a lot of the hate that he gets. It's just terrible how they treat him because he's a nice guy. You know why? He's a nice guy, and a lot of these betas, man, they're trying to kiss up the gun. Gun's not going to give you a job. Okay, no matter what you do, he's not going to get you a job. You know. Um, and they feel that they get privileges if they praise Gunn. I don't give a shit about that. I got a TV show. Why would I care what I can get from James Gunn? Like he's ever going to reach out to me? He never will. Um, might well talk about Dreamwalker now. It's got about 30 minutes left. We can
all right,
it's
yeah.
the
So
timeline. It's a timeline.
seg-
So
segueing into you being a fan is what I
yeah,
was wanting to talk
yeah,
about. So in 2020, you just established Geekosity, which blew you up.
yeah, yeah,
Then in 2021, you and a partner by the
yeah,
world-renowned artist Noel Leon Flores
yeah,
created Second Skin Comics,
yeah,
and your debut title is Dreamwalker.
yeah.
As you can see, is
Go
sold
sold out, sold out.
out.
Every single one. Every single one.
And so there's only two issues, right, so far.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, just two issues. Number three is coming out this summer.
So
Um
tell everyone briefly a
yeah.
synopsis of Dreamwalker and
so
how it came about with
so
Kate.
Dreamwalker is about a girl named Kat in the Philippines, and she's a supernatural blogger. Um and she got into a bus accident where she's the only survivor. And after the bus accident, she realizes that she has the ability to go into people's dreams and take any object she wants from them. When the person wakes up, that object disappears. Um, so instead of being a bystander to all these supernatural occurrences, she decides to fight back and use her power to fight all these supernatural monsters in her area. Now, it's based in the Philippines. All those monsters come from Filipino myths that go back hundreds of years that I have learned as a kid. So they put them in the comic book as her foes. And so this comic book has a long, long history, Jeff. But I'll tell you, its real origin, really, where the Big Bang, if you will. So it's in 1983. That's how far it goes back. So my teacher, English teacher, she said that one day she very liberal teacher, right? She's German. Sonia Hendricks, wherever you are, I don't know if you've ever watched this, but if you're still alive, um, she was very encouraging of me as a writer. One of the things she told me, Josh, that Mike, one day you're gonna have your own TV show. I was like, no way, that's never gonna happen. It's never gonna because I would bring TV Guide to school with me and read it during recess because she said one day you're gonna have your own TV show. Like yeah, whatever, you know. So um, before graduation, that I skipped to see Return of the Jedi. But anyway, um, she gave me the keys to her car. Because here, look for the Mercedes, um, and open up the trunk. There's something there for you. And I'm like, what? You know, like is there a dead body in there somewhere? You know, like she's actually entrusting me with her Mercedes, right? And so I said, okay. I was like, where's the Mercedes? Oh, there it is. I found the Mercedes. I still have a vivid memory of this. Opening up, it's like 40 years ago now. Holy shit. I still remember it vividly. I opened the trunk, there's a bag. This orange bag, I still remember the color. Full of Omni magazines inside. Omni was a science magazine that was really popular back in the 80s. And so I carried this heavy, heavy bag. If you see Omni mag, they're thick magazines. They're really heavy. And imagine a whole bag of them, right? So I carried this into the classroom with me, and I said, she goes, okay, where do I put it? She goes, this is yours. I'm like, what? It's yours for free. No, it's my I want to inspire you as a writer, and okay. So I grabbed like maybe 40, 50 magazines, I think. Um, Took them home, and it took me months to go through them all. There's one issue, and I should look for this, man, as it's historic thing. I don't have it anymore. There's an article there about lucid dreaming. Lucid dreaming is when you can control yourself in your dreams. And I thought that was a fascinating subject. Like, whoa, how do I do that? I was thinking, and so, I forget about this, Josh. Years later, 1991, I saw this video on MTV by a band called the Candy Skins. They're a British alternative rock band, and they had a song called "Submarine Song," and it has the lyrics, "And I walk through your dreams." Like, damn, what a cool power to have, right? If I was a superhero, that's the kind of power I would want. Walk through people's dreams. And the idea stuck in my head all these years. Then 2018, I had my stroke. I scooped a show called Voltus 5, which is now on the air. And I said Voltus 5, it was originally a 70s Japanese anime. It was a live action show in the Philippines. And so I scooped it on my Facebook, right? And this guy messages me. He goes, "Hey, your scoop is accurate." And I said, "Oh, really?" He goes, "Yeah, yeah." And I was like, and so that was Noelian Flores. So he and I started talking about, hey, I really like your writing. Have you thought about doing a comic book someday? Like I could be your artist. I said, that sounds awesome. I had no idea this guy was a renowned, visual designer for television over there. I had no idea how big it was. So I just kind of casually, yeah, sure, it sounds good. So I had this idea about that whole dream walking thing. Came back to me and said that'd be a cool comic book to write and superpower. And so I started writing it as a comedy. Okay. And those who read the comic book, it's nowhere, it's not a comedy at all.
As you can see.
As you can see, yeah. And so it just wasn't working. It wasn't funny. I couldn't get it to click at all. Then I had my stroke and I almost died. I was told I couldn't write again, probably. I couldn't walk again. Within a month, I was walking again. And I was writing again. I did physical therapy for a month and a half. Like really strenuous physical therapy to get me back in shape again. And so I got home. I was let go from the hospital. I came home. I started to walk around the house without a walker. I even realized I was doing this without a walker. Because like, holy shit, I have no walker with me. What am I doing? So I walk in the living room. My mom was watching a Filipino soap opera, and I don't watch that shit, man. Never. I don't like soap operas, but I went outside just to walk around. And I saw this girl on her show. That girl was Kate Valdez, and I was like, "Who is this beautiful girl?" Like I couldn't stop looking at her, and I'm like, I started watching the show because of her, right? And so I posted on my Facebook a picture of her, and just had lyrics from the Cult Sea Soul Sanctuary on there. Um, and then Noel Leon Flores messages me, goes, "Hey, I know her. I worked with her." I'm like, "What?" And so I said, "Yeah." I said, he goes, "Hey, do you want to interview her?" I'm like, "Huh?" I had a site back then called Paper Cuts. Should sound familiar. They use it for a social show. Um,
Yep, I remember that.
so I got in contact with her handler, and I said, "Hey, I want to interview Kate Valdez for my site." She goes, "Yeah, yeah." Within a week, I was talking to Kate. This is 2019. Um, no, it was 2018 still. No, it was November 2018.
Oh wow.
Uh, yeah. So just a month after, 2 months after my stroke, and so I interviewed her, and everything went well. Um, and then it hit me like my character has no face. Like I'm gonna base the character after Kate. Um, in fact, I named her Cat after Kate. That's where she got the name from. And so I messaged Kate, said, "Hey, is it okay if I, model a comic book character after you?" She goes, "Oh, no, that's wonderful." Dude, I had no idea. She's a big fan of comic book movies back then. I had no idea she's a fan of manga. I had no idea any of this. Um, but I really wanted to model this character after her. I we were talking. I was talking to Kate, and she goes, "Hey, have you seen the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina on
Ah,
Netflix?" Right? I said, "No, I haven't seen it. I like Riverdale though." Goes, "You should really see the show.
mm-hmm.
I think you'll like it." I said, "Okay." I'm watching Sabrina, Josh, and I'm getting really inspired. I'm like, I love this show, right? Like,
It's one of my favorites, by the way.
oh, is it? I had no idea. That's how
I
awesome is
love the
that?
Riverdale show, and I love that show.
Oh
So
man, she's great. And so I'm watching it. I'm like, what if I turn Dreamwalker into a horror comic instead? Because I couldn't crack the script, dude. For like a year, I could not crack the script. It was funny. I made it horror. I got that script done in a week. It was done. And I
wow.
said, Noel, done with the script. Here you go. And everything started coming together, dude. So I didn't make an announcement about the comic book until I got the first image, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Noel sent me a panel, um, which was one of the back pages of Dream Issue 1 of her as Kate as Dreamwalker, right? I posted on my Facebook, and all of Kate's fans went nuts, right? It got hundreds of likes, like, "Oh my God, it looks like Kate." I said, "Yeah, well, it is Kate. And so I said, "Hey, I'm writing this comic book. I'm modeling after Kate Valdez." The GMA network in the Philippines, the biggest TV network in the country, did an article on it already. It wasn't even written yet. I mean, it wasn't drawn yet, but they already put me on their website just for that one panel I posted on Facebook. And so
Wow.
all of a sudden, I'm like, I was like, keep in mind, Josh, that when I posted that illustration, it was before Spidergate. I was not well known yet at all. Because I was wondering, how is this comic book going to sell? No one knows who I am, right? Okay, this is where it gets interesting. Okay, um, so I posted that. Spidergate happens, right? I'm famous
Mm-hmm.
overnight, right? Um, one of the people that found me because of Spidergate, and I had no idea at the time, was the president of a studio. Okay,
Ah.
it's like, hey, found you with your Spider-Man scoop. What's this comic book that you're doing? And I had no idea this guy was the president of a studio. No clue, dude. I said, oh, it's about a girl walks through people's dreams, so on and so forth. And so, can you send me a digital file when the book is done so I can take a look at it? Okay, I said, sure. I can do that. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe he's just a fan. I don't know. I didn't look up his credentials or anything, right? Um, So Noel and I, Noel starts drawing the book. At the time, he was doing this Delta 5, was designing the multi-million-dollar show while he was drawing my comic book. This is crazy. Um, so the comic book is drawn. I'm starting to post more and more, art from the comic book, hyping it up, Um, and so I keep getting email messages from the studio head, right? He's very interested. Um, so we finished the comic book, and the comic book is out. It comes out February 2021. I think it came out 2022. Came out. Um, he sends me a message. He goes, "Hey, your comic book's out now. Can you send me a copy?" It's like, sure, I can do that. So I sent him digital files, right? Now keep in mind, Josh, that in order for me to get inspired for Dreamwalker to get the right tone, I was looking for Filipino horror stuff to watch. Um,
Hmm.
I saw this film called Eerie on Netflix, and that's where the
Okay.
tone of the book came from. Because it was a Filipino horror film, like it's just the tone I want, the look that I want, right? So the Eerie, directed by Mikel Red, was the one that really kickstarted this book, to the finish line, and so keep that in mind when you're back, like your mind there. So book comes out, right, and I got a message from the president of the studio, 108 Media, and he said, "Hey, really like your book. Can I have a producer talk to you?" And I'm
No.
thinking, why does the producer want to talk to me? Like, there's no way my book's gonna get picked up after the first issue. There's no way. Like, they probably just want to ask me questions or something. I don't know. Um, so I set up a Zoom conference with the producer, and I had no idea who she was. Right? So we talked, and she goes, "Well, the reason why I wanted to talk to you is that we want to option your book for a film or TV show." And I just literally just fell off the floor, man. I just like, no way, a book just came out, right? Um, can we send you a contract? I'm like, what? What is going on here? So one evening, it was like 3 o'clock in the morning, the time zone difference because they're in Singapore. Um, they said that I looked at my email and it said contract. I'm like, oh my god, here it is. Oh my god, dude, and I'm totally
No.
freaking out, right? Totally freaking out. Can you hold? I'll be right back. I'll be right back.
All right, cool. So as you can see, this origin story is like everything happening at the right time for the right reasons for Mikey, and that's similar to how Full Circle was. I think for me and Sky is that things just kind of happen when they're supposed to, and one thing that I remember about Dreamwalker that I think was kind of funny is when it started really popping off was the same time as Multiverse of Madness, and if anybody who's seen that knows that Wanda and Doctor Strange both do astral projecting. I think it's what it's called. So I remember there was a stream where Sil and Mikey were like laughing because essentially, like, Multiverse of Madness ripped off Mikey's Dreamwalker. So that's a little you know nugget for you. If you're kind of wondering what Dreamwalker's kind of like, watch Multiverse of Madness, and you might have an idea of what not Kate, but Cat, I believe, the main character. Yeah, Cat. Um, powers are like very much similar to Wanda. So yeah, business talks in Havoc. Socks. Dreamwalker will change the world both in comics and TV. So Mikey's got some really fun stuff that's gearing up, and he's on a roll. So yes, the stars did the stars did align.
Okay, I'm back.
What were you saying, Mike?
Yeah, so yeah, I'm back. So I'm talking to this producer, and she goes, "Yeah, you want an option for a film or TV show?" And like, I said, "Okay, can I?" So I got this contract at 3 in the morning, dude, and it says contract in the subject heading. I'm like, "Oh my god, here it is!" I'm freaking out, dude. Like, should I read this now? Wait till the morning? We awake all night, because too excited, right? So I look at the contract. I'm like, "This is a really good contract. Holy shit!" So I sent it to an attorney, and he said that if you don't sign this, you're nuts. This is the best contract you can get 'cause I have full rights.
Yep.
critic control, everything. So I said, yeah, okay, I'm in. I'm in. I'm going to sign it. Well, let's have you talk to our CEO, the guy who's been messaging me. So talk to them both. We're on a Zoom call, and she goes, well, let me properly introduce ourselves. I don't think we really have a chance to. She hasn't had a chance to introduce herself fully to me. He goes, yeah, I'm a producer. I'm a film producer. I said, okay, that's great. You know, hold on, Zach. Hold on, Josh.
So as you can see, Mikey worked his way up to rubbing elbows with these bigwigs. And things just
yeah, totally. So the I'm talking to them both, and she said, I'm a film producer. And she goes, okay. What did you produce? I'm just curious, right? She goes, I produced a film called Eerie. No way. No fucking way. My jaw hit the floor like, yeah, this just can't be true. She goes, yeah, on Netflix. Check it out my color red. I'm like, no way. and then the president pipes in, yeah, I'm the studio that put it out. That's our movie. Say, did you know that movie inspired Dreamwalker? I never wrote about it at all.
Right.
And like, oh my god, this is like Destiny. I'm thinking it's Destiny and everything. Of course I'm going to sign, you know. And so, and the producer goes, well, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Okay, you want Kate in this, don't you? I mean, that's what she inspired the character. I mean, she goes, okay, well, if you sign, we will promise you we're going to do everything we can to get Kate in the role. It's going to be up to her network to agree to this, but we're going to sign her. So go for it. Please do it. She has to be Dreamwalker. So took 8 months because the way it works is a long story, but everything has to be in place for the actor to even be informed of a deal. Like you have to get a director, you got to get everybody involved. They want to know it's for sure. You don't want to just like, oh, I have them wait for nothing, right? So 8 months, I could not tell Kate what was going on, right? Keep in mind that Kate had gotten her issues already. She had pictures taken with. They couldn't tell her there's a show with her as the lead role, and so 8 months of waiting, I had a photo shoot already scheduled with her to be on the cover, like a real her. This is before I got the deal, even. Like I was like, am I from the future? I already foretold this, and so around December of this last year, the studio said, "Look, we waited 8 months for this. You gotta tell her. You gotta tell her, man. You gotta tell her, and she's gotta sign now because you know." Oh, one more thing before you get to probably one of the most important things, Josh. They found.
Cut out, Mikey. Oh no, they got him.
Can you hear me now? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
So they got a director finally, and I wasn't even thinking about it. All I was thinking of, I want Kate in the lead. That's all I cared about, you know. Yeah, we found a director. I said, who is it? Oh, it's Mikhail Red of Eerie. I'm like, what?
Full circle, right? Full circle.
Literally full circle. And like right after they signed him, he swept the awards, like the Philippine version of the Oscars with a film called God, I can't remember what the film was called. But anyway, he swept the awards over there like a few days after they signed him. This dude's a big deal, right? But he's Mikhail Red, who's Dreamwalker. He's directing the show.
Wow.
And by the way, they gave me a choice. By the way, do you want film or TV? I chose TV. They actually gave me a choice. Like, this is insane.
And that is being worked on and not affected by the writer's strike. Correct?
No, like it's all overseas.
It's all overseas.
It's a UK Asian production. It'll be on stream. I can't tell you the streamer, but it'll be worldwide. It is a streamer. It's not like VOD or something like that.
Can you say whether or not the comic is pretty much an adaptation, or will there be liberties taken?
There are liberties taken, but it's going to be very experimental. From what I've seen so far of the concept art, it's like a cross between Triple R and Guillermo del Toro. It is nuts.
Right.
In fact, the show might be darker than the comic book, which is saying a lot.
Oh, guys, look at that image right there.
Yeah, exactly. It's pretty dark, right? And so people in the syndicate knew the secret. It was the big secret that if you go back a few months ago, like before December, and you see me bombing Sky in the back, in the back, and he's like jumping up and down. It's because I was telling him about Dreamwalker.
Nice.
And so it was, and Bad Dan knew, a few people, all the syndicate people knew, the secret Scylla Bill knew. And so we would have reactions, live reactions, and people didn't know what they were reacting to. You know,
Right.
like I remember Savage Bat, when I told him, he just froze. He froze in front of the camera, like, what just hit me here? You know, and people were like getting off the stream early, like Sky was like, okay, I gotta get off the air. I can't get this off my mind. You know?
And as you can see, it's sold out. So when issue 3 comes out, if you are not in Dreamwalker, when issue 3 drops, now would be the time to collect that, because it's gonna be worth some money. So
it is, and it was selling for $1,000 a couple of months ago on eBay already. So, and keep in mind that all this sold out before the announcement. So by the time the announcement came, there's no copies left.
So you might want to go to secondskincomics.com and pick up. And I just heard that you announced a book deal as well, right?
Yeah, I got a book deal. First book is coming out next year. That's going to be a horror anthology. And the official announcement is coming soon. But there will be Dreamwalker spin-off books as well. And might as well say it now, Josh. You're going to be in the second volume of Dreamwalker as a character.
No.
So now you know. Now you know.
Me?
Yes, you.
Nobody? Thank you, Mikey.
Yeah, no one is nobody. I wanted to bomb that today.
Oh my God. Bat Dad was mentioning that earlier, and I was like,
no, you're yeah, wow. Because issues 1 through 6 is volume 1, volume 2 is 7 and up. You're gonna be in that second volume. I already have a character mapped out for you.
Thank you so much, Mikey. I don't know what to say.
I think I probably make you speechless now.
Yeah, I am honored. Thank you. I can't believe this. I'm gonna call my family to get all of the Dreamwalker issues.
I had to go in a minute before I can't forget what I promised on Skywalker Show last night, on Night Shift last night.
Let me switch over because I have it ready. So this was your scoop that was just dropped.
Yeah.
Comic Accurate X-Men that you predicted back in 2021, 2022, I think.
Yeah.
So yesterday on Night Shift, you were talking about this photo right here.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Looks like
someone there. So here's what I'm gonna say. There are other characters coming into Deadpool 3, and this one I was told fits into the scene. I know this character is going to be in the film. I'm not 100% sure this is who Jackman is stabbing here, but the background kind of tells me it is. The snow and everything. Josh, if you're a fan of this character, you're going to lose your shit right now.
I think I know who it is.
See the X-Men shirt on you right there. Sabretooth is going to be in Deadpool 3.
Yes.
So we're going to see Wolverine in his yellow outfit fight Sabretooth in Deadpool 3, is what I'm told. And a special bomb for all those tuning in tonight. Those of you who watched this on Night Shift last night. But I think Josh he can't get the comic book character out of his mind right now.
I'm literally like,
Sabretooth.
blood in my head that I can't get it to go. So I'm like, oh, I have to do a show right now. Crap. But
The same kind of reaction that I
I
told.
know. That is amazing, Mikey. You have so much knowledge and so much passion, and you obviously share that with people who are fellow fans.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
thank you for being a fan, but also like giving back to this fan community and sharing that. Like Sabretooth, like socks, like I mean, that's like I can't wait for like the runt, comments to play because we know.
Yeah, Sin Havoc is probably the same actor. Like, I think they're bringing back a lot of the
Uh,
same actors. So,
little bit of X-Men Origins
yeah, yeah.
Wolverine,
So,
maybe possibly coming back. All right,
so
that's a great.
Josh, in the months ahead, I will tell you what your character is going to be like. Um, you're gonna get blown away because
I
um,
I'm
a lot
already.
of a lot of the people that I modeled characters after, they don't know I've been privately profiling them to get the right personality for their character. Like, Sky had no idea that I was watching his show and profiling him. Like, here's how I want your character to be. Socks is one of the best characters. He collects the socks of dead people, which is just. But he's the most moral of all the criminals, though. That's the thing, and so I always wanted people to feel the most empathy for the character who has the most disgusting fetish.
This, I think this is how this picture summarizes how we all feel about being put into your comic book right now,
Thank
Mike.
you, thank you. That's perfect. That's a perfect picture. Um,
But
guys,
you
I
have
have
to
to get
plug
going.
your
Yeah,
shows. So you're gonna be
yeah,
on
yeah,
night
yeah,
tonight, right?
yeah. So night shift tonight, 9 o'clock. And then tomorrow I have Pandora's Box at 5
Necron
PSC.
panel.
Like with Necron, I think we're doing drive-in horror films from the 80s and 70s with that. I have tomorrow Wednesday at 10 p.m. I have was the Zod Rider and the one and only Mario Burnett. Um,
Yes.
so always fun Wednesday party, and anything goes on that show. So
And now that it's 5 nights a week, every
yeah,
night except Wednesdays and Saturdays, correct?
yep. With Skywalker, yeah, and tonight, oh yeah, we're talking Zack Snyder tonight, so definitely tune in for that.
There will be more bombs. Skywalker, thanks for being in
Yeah,
the chat. We had a bomb on about Gal Gadot, Wonder Woman on last
yeah,
night's night
yeah,
shift.
yeah.
So if you haven't seen that, go tune in to last night's night shift. And tonight will be a Zack Snyder bomb. So
Yes,
continue.
and Sky has no idea what it is. Just want to get his live reaction to it. Um, so,
Mikey,
man, a lot of
thank you.
projects going forward. Thank you so much, dude. This is great fun.
Yeah, thank you so much for this honor and being on my channel and dropping these bombs because I don't feel worthy, but I can't wait to continue to watch all your shows and find out who I'm going to
Awesome.
be.
Well, Josh, you're a positive force in the community, which is very rare. I saw that from the very beginning. Really admire you greatly. I'm glad that you're, sharing your joy with all of us right now because a lot of bourbon in DC right now. We all
There's
need
a
to feel
lot.
good about something, right?
Well, hey, I'm looking forward to what's to
Yeah.
come because it's going to be uncanny.
Oh,
And
definitely. Yeah.
the
You
Mikey
know that
verse is popping off. So there's alternatives to DC. So
there's alternatives everywhere. And you know what I was told, Josh, that the film is going to be called The Uncanny X-Men. In case I think that's a bomb right there. So anyway.
okay, uncanny just happened to be what I said.
I can't help it. I'm just trying. I can't help myself from throwing bombs. Like, no,
We better close down the stream because we might blow up.
Exactly. So,
All right, everyone.
I gotta go have dinner. But thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. Josh, thank you so much. And,
Thank you, Mikey.
I'll
We
see you
will
guys
all
later.
be for night shift tonight.
All right. Take care, guys.
You have a good one.
You too.